All right, so the next fundamental analysis, I guess, characteristic that I have is thesis building with network. So this video is slightly more off topic than the other ones. The other ones were very specific. It's like analyzing for narratives, analyzing for the team, the community, blah, blah, blah. This one is all about something slightly different, which is how I go about researching coins and building theses by using other people. So when I operate in crypto, when I'm researching things, I know that I'm obviously been doing it for 6 years and I'm very, very good at this stuff. But even when I'm as good as that I am, I like to surround myself with lots of other people who are very, very successful, just like myself, who specialize in different areas in crypto. Because when you work together with other people, you go way further than you ever could by operating by yourself. Now, let's say you're a day trader. I think you can completely independently trade, and you probably should completely independently trade. You don't need to do trading with other people, because the ability to make money, it's a competition with yourself, and it's all about you. And there's not as much of an edge that is really required when you're doing, trading in terms of like looking at what other people are saying, right? Trading is all about your own strategy, your own edge, blah, blah, blah. But I think in investing and other ways that you make money that are more about alpha, fundamentals, insider information, that is where it becomes really important to have access to a network, have a team of people you work with, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's what this video is going to be about. It's about how you can build your investment thesis. You can build your fundamental understanding of a project by involving your network and your team. Okay, now, for most of you watching this, you're probably not good enough to have a high-level team around you because they don't really have a reason to tell you shit, because you're not going to tell them anything back. It's not a fair exchange of value. But because where I am in my current situation, I'm able to give people value and they can give value back, right? And so if I just put in a room 15 people who give me value and I give them value and we all give each other value, we're able to take over all these different sectors of crypto where each guy is a professional at each sector. And whenever information or alpha comes up that is really profitable within each of these sectors, we all share it with each other. And then we're all able to make money all across crypto. So for example, when I'm doing airdrop farming, I've got devs who farm shit for me. When I'm researching into meme coins, I've got guys who just basically exclusively look into meme coins. When I'm doing NFTs, I got guys who love NFTs. I know a guy that's like a professional at doing whale wallet tracking. So when I'm looking to accumulate an asset, I look, I go to him and I'm like, how do the whale wallets look, right? Maybe I think it's worth buying. I talk to him for Confluence, right? How are the wallets looking? Does it look like whales are accumulating or distributing? And all this different stuff, you work with a team, you're able to go way further than you ever could working by yourself. And you think about all of human history, everything that great that was ever created, generally speaking, was created through working with other people. Now, obviously, some famous painters painted shit by themselves and it was just them. But, all the greatest creations, generally like big things like the pyramids of Giza or any sort of massive, fucking high-rise building, it was all built with a team. There's not just one guy who can build a high-rise. And it's not just, generally speaking, when you build a portfolio that is in the, deck of millions, you're only going to get there by working with other people. You're not just going to independently get yourself all by yourself without talking to anyone else, working with anyone else, getting to multiple, tens of millions of dollars. You need a team. And that is what this section is about. It's about how I use my network to build a thesis, to research coins, et cetera, et cetera. So just to give you an example of like real world examples of how my network has helped me find things. So for example, many of my investments came from my friends. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and think that I did everything by myself. I'm not that fucking good. I mean, I'm pretty good at what I do, but I'm not that good that I just can know everything, and I spend all day looking at charts and fucking reading into coins. No, I don't do that. A friend told me about Toshi. I didn't go researching base coins and found Toshi. No, a friend told me about it. But he told me about it when it first launched. And I didn't buy it when it went to 10, 20, 30 million market cap. I waited for it to come down 95% and then I bought it. So he tipped me off about it. And just because he told me about it doesn't mean I buy it, but it reduced my research process into finding it, a very promising project down to only a few different things to look at, right? So he basically messaged me one day. He was like, hey, I think Toshi's going to be big on base. He gave me his initial thesis. He gave me the initial idea that was surrounding base when it launched. Basically, he was saying stuff like, Base is it's one of the cats of Brian. So yeah, Coinbase being the biggest exchange, this bull run, the founders, Brian, he's got 2 cats, Toshi and Mochi, all that sort of stuff, right? This initial idea of why Toshi was a good investment. Another idea was the fact that like the meme coin is usually the highest beta bet of a particular ecosystem. And so that initial thesis, it stuck out to me. I was like, wow, of all the coins that you told me, this one really sticks out to me. And so after that, I did months of research, really was looking into it, looking into Toshi, looking into the whole Coinbase thesis, all that sort of stuff, right? That culled my research process by like 90% because I knew exactly where something promising was immediately. I didn't have to go through all the different base projects. I just knew, oh, okay, this one actually makes a lot of sense. I really like this one, at least from a first glance. And then that allowed me to buy the bottom because I was tipped off about it and I did my own research. And, I got in at 2.5 million market cap and now it's at like 70 or 80 or something. Depends when you watch the video, but it's up massively, right? Now, another example is, actually, let's go to this example first. So I have a friend who works at Coinbase and I get tons of alpha from him. Really, really useful friend. And so in relation to Toshi, he told me that Base in the internal team documents wants to funnel Coinbase users to Base. And it made sense to me after hearing this sort of insider information, at least at the time of when it was out, that holy shit, Coinbase, the biggest exchange, is going to send all of its users to Base because they're trying to up them on the value scale, on the value chain. They're trying to offer them more products and services. They want their users to go on chain. When they all go to Toshi, that's going to create an alt season on the Base blockchain. When they all go to Base, that's going to create a Base alt season. Toshi being the highest beta bet is going to go up the most. Wow, this thesis is really solid. Holy shit, Toshi's only got a $2.5 million market cap and Base is going to be like one of the biggest ecosystems in crypto. Wow, this is a no-brainer to me. And that was when I bought it. Because initially, the friend told me to look at it, gave the initial thesis, then I built a much stronger thesis on top of what he told me. And then a friend was like, oh yeah, I've got insider information on Toshi. Base is going to be huge, basically. He gave me the whole backdrop. And so your ability to make money, like we talk about in this course, is your ability to see multiple steps ahead. It's the second and third order consequences of what you're seeing that is where you make the money from. When a third order consequence becomes the current reality is when the outcome has been priced in. So the third order consequence I see is that Toshi's going to go up a lot as a result of Coinbase getting a lot of adoption, right? But when that third order consequence becomes the reality, then, Toshi's going to be up massively, right? Because if Coinbase got all the users, they sent them all to Base, they all bought Toshi, Toshi's going to be up massively. So my ability to use my network to source and build confluence, my ability to create that advanced narrative analysis of analyzing multiple steps ahead, using second and third order consequences to build the thesis, to look into the community and see how strong it was, all these different things, it all comes together to buy Toshi, okay? And I wouldn't have been able to do as well on Toshi if I did not have my network, okay? I'm not going to sit here and think that I'm this big genius that can do it all by himself. No, I have friends who help me do this. So if you ever look at me and go, Daniel, how the fuck do you do this? I got friends. Okay. And every single dude in crypto who's really good on Twitter, they all work together. They all have friends. They're all fucking networking together and sharing alpha together. There's no guy who's killing it at crypto who just walks around and does everything a lone wolf. Every single guy on Twitter and YouTube who does really good at crypto, who you're looking up to, works within private networks with friends and they all source alpha and information together. I run my own inner circle group. Not one that you can publicly join, not one that costs money, one that I exclusively reserve for friends who have made millions of dollars from crypto, who are very fucking good at what they do, the best in the industry at what they do. And I just put them all together, all my friends, and we all just try and make money together with basically sharing information and alpha together. Okay? And no, don't DM me about joining this group unless you can verify that you've made at least $2 million from crypto and you're actually like the fucking best at a particular sector. It's just not going to happen. But look, those groups, everyone has them. I've been added to so many. Like, people just DM me, hey, got this alpha group, you want to join, we can share alpha. Everyone has this. Every single fucking big Twitter guy. And look, I saw this tweet on Twitter, and this is a perfect little summary of exactly what's happening. There is an inner circle cabal that exists within Web3. This is not an equal playing field. right? There's different sectors. So the first one is the token cabal. There are group chats that share alpha that people are buying. But what they don't tell you is that it's usually someone in the chat who is actually making the coins. So that's actually something totally separate. We don't do this, but in a lot of groups, they work together, they make coins, and then they shill them online. I know people who do this. I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to make this course a permanently on the internet outing of anyone. But there's a lot of people who fucking make coins with their friends, pump and dump them on their Twitter audience. Okay? So, and this is not an example of what my group does again, just to repeat that, but this is how Web3 works. People work together to build theses, and in this bad example, of what not to do, to launch coins. Okay? Now, there's an NFT cabal. There's a group of NFT influencers that get a allow list for every mint. Usually it's in return for posting about the project. So, all those guys you see saying that this is the next big NFT, well, yeah, they probably got free allocation to the allow list. Right, so they're using you as exit liquidity. And now another one is the angel check cabal. So there's a group of influencers who get contacted by every infrastructure project or new dApp that's being built. These influencers are typically asked to write a check for anywhere from 5 to 25k US, and they get named as an advisor and they receive tokens at a lower valuation. So basically, a project comes to an influencer and they say, "Hey, we'll let you invest in our project really early. All you got to do is just say that you're an advisor to our project." And so these projects, they get a list of 10, 20 advisors. So it looks like, wow, this project has a lot of good backing from people. The influencers just use their reputation to get cheap coins. It's a total fucking famous. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, I can move on to the good news. Admittedly, I am kind of all in all of these cabals. So this is what this guy's saying. And you can be too, blah, blah, blah. What's he's basically saying you can join these cabals, right? So this is just to show you not what you should be doing. This is all pretty fucking unethical, but it's to show you that this is how crypto works. Insider communities are people working together, in this sense unethically, but in the sense that I do it ethically, to work together to take money from the market, okay? And another example of using my network, when I bought Solana in the last bull run, a friend had told me about it. He was like, "Bro, look into Solana." It was like $7. And I was like looking into a bunch of different coins, and I was like, "Okay, I'll look into Solana." I looked into it and I was like, fuck, this is immediately massive. I was one of the first ever Solana influencers, right? They added us to a group called Soldiers or something with Sol. And there was a bunch of Twitter guys in there. And there was no paid shills. We weren't getting tokens. It was just putting together a bunch of influencers to, support this project. And that was basically showing me the community building of this coin from its early days. And I was really impressed with how they were going about community building and also the tech when I was reading into it. And that allowed me to capture a 40x on Solana during the last bull run. Okay. And I'm still bullish on it to this day as I continue to research into it after, my friend tipped me off about it. Okay. So not every coin requires a friend to tell me about it. Not every coin I must run by a friend. It doesn't always revolve around using my network. But when you have a network of people that you work with, it massively reduces the time that you spend researching, number one, and the time and your ability to come up with a compelling thesis based on information that the market does not know about. Because remember, your ability to make money is based on your ability to know things that the market does not yet know, that it will know in the future. When my friend comes to me and tells me the internal documents at base of what they're going to do, that's information that the market does not understand, meaning it is not priced into the market, meaning that it is yet to be priced in and having an effect on the price. Okay? And without those connections, I wouldn't have been able to make a thesis as good as this. Maybe I still would have bought Toshi. Maybe I bought it at a $5 million market cap instead of 2.5, right? So instead of 100x, it's 50x, right? But still, you can see where this is going. If I was navigating crypto alone, I would have got 20% of the opportunities. And something to keep in mind as well, there is so many fucking sectors in crypto, and when people don't have a particular edge in a certain sector, they end up running around like a headless chicken into everything. Fucking Solana season's going off, so they become a Solana maxi. Then they see, oh my God, everyone's moved over to C. So then they go into C and they start buying fucking C shitcoins. And then, oh my God, we're all going back to Ethereum. So then they bridge back to the main chain. And then they're all trying to, capture ETH beta. So they're buying Lido or Arbitrum. Most people are just flopping around chasing the money. what you need is a friend who is an expert in each sector. So you have a guy who's really good at NFTs, really good at airdrops,